Happy Devil's Friday. This is The Woo Report. The Woo Report, episode 286, titled Devil's Rumor Mill, Severson, Fitzy, and Meier. Streaming live on Facebook Live, YouTube Live, Twitter Live, and Twitch on the Let's Go Devils Network. Coming to you live from the bunker in the Primetime Radio Studios here in beautiful New Jersey, as we are approaching 500,000 downloads. This Let's Go Devils podcast, I think we're down to about 300 downloads left. On the eve of 500,000 downloads, the Woo Report, we will be talking a little later about what the Devils really should be doing. Also, just a reminder, February 25th, American Whiskey, the 500,000 party. Be there, be square. It is going to be a wonderful event. Lots of sangria, lots of beers for all those that are 21 or older, lots of food, Taylor hamburgers, pork roll burgers, whichever you call it. We want to be inclusive. Before the Devils take on the Philadelphia Flyers that night, if you don't have a ticket, watch the game at the bar with us. Seeing a lot of people chiming in on the Facebook Live and YouTube Live. Hello, Cody. Hello, Michael. Hello, Stephen Engel. Max. The Insane Pollock doing the cornhole impression. There's no cornhole sighting, thank goodness, because all you hear is it's Timo time. But is it really? Some of the rumors circulating, and I don't know. Sometimes you read these memes, but if you read these memes on social media, it doesn't make it a fact. But let's just have a little fun. Let's talk about rumors, the rumor mills, all the speculation. We'll go to Ryan Novozinski's article in NJ.com, talking to Fitzy about really what direction is he going to take? What direction? How are they going to do it? And Novozinski tweeted out, and I'll read it verbatim on his Twitter account, Ryan Novozinski. The hashtag NJ Devils have made their buying status clear, and I'm told they're, quote, entertaining everything, end quote, before the deadline. Well, that's kind of obvious. Still, they remain wary about mortgaging the future. We're not going to impair what we want to do going forward in the future, says Devils GM Tom Fitzgerald. I couldn't agree more. As a matter of fact, I'd like to make the case to all you folks that the pipeline, future draft picks, current prospects, you do not want to release the spigot too early here. I mean, none of us would have ever fathomed that the Devils would be where they are in the standings. And you've got to think more long-term. Long-term meaning Jack Hughes' career. Jack Hughes has another 15 years ahead of him. 15 great years, hopefully with all the New Jersey Devils. The Timo Meier thing will kind of temporarily disrupt the flow of the pipeline because draft picks are assets too. Draft picks are also players and people as well. Tom Fitzgerald said that in the past. And after 10 years, let's even go maybe a little bit further, 11 years, since the Devils' last Stanley Cup run, it's been a lot of losing because they ripped off the Band-Aid upon Band-Aid of Lou Lamoriello. And it's not blaming Lou. It was on the last gasp of what we would say the closest thing to a Devils dynasty when Marty Brodeur played. And remember how that situation came about. The Devils built through the draft. They built through the draft. And they built a formidable team. Even before the salary cap era, the Devils had an internal salary cap structure before an NHL salary cap came about. And it worked perfectly. Remember the days of the Rangers spending about $95 million a year on players, and the Devils were far less, but were winning Stanley Cups. It's because they built through the draft. And how do you build through the draft? You've got to retain your picks. There are certain situations where you go all in for certain players. Okay, I get it. You want to make an example of what happened with the New York Islanders. The New York Islanders, they went all in on Bo Horvat. Aggressive move by Lou Lamoriello. Trading a conditional first-round pick, meaning lottery protected for the first 12, but anything afterwards, Lou's not interested in, you can have that pick. Of course Lou Lamoriello is going to do that. Why? Because he needs to win now. Our beloved GM of the past for the New Jersey Devils is 80 years old. He's not thinking 20 years ahead, 5, 10, 15, 20 years ahead. He's thinking now. But the Devils are in quite a bit different situation. Tom Fitzgerald had the interim tag after Ray Shero parted ways, pretty much got fired by the New Jersey Devils, but apparently they parted ways. And we're really, in the first year, the Devils are the first year of Jack Hughes' contract. I believe second or third year of Nico Heischer's contract. Forgot what year we're on. Apologize, I just didn't look at it for this podcast. And I think the pipeline and the assets that the pipeline can produce is far more valuable than Timo Meier or any big splash. We have to think for the last 10, 12 years, it's not about getting into the playoffs for this season. It's about building a dynasty. And the Devils need to continue to do that. And let the rumor mill, let's talk about what's going on in the rumor mill. There was a meme out there on social media, sources saying, according to this meme, that the Devils basically said, hey, Sharks, when you got a deal done, let us have the last say. Please give us a call. Give us a courtesy. I don't know if I believe that so much. And if it did happen, I believe that's probably something status quo that you would say to another team. I'm not going to put too much stock in that meme. Not saying it's a lie. It's just, I think that's just standard protocol. And I think right now with the New Jersey Devils, Tom Fitzgerald is evaluating how good this team really is. Last night, 3-1 victory over the Seattle Kraken. Getting all the offense from the defense. Dougie Hamilton scoring 2 goals. John Marino, the empty netter. But think about it, folks. If you're going to get Timo Meier, there's a lot of things that need to happen. A, are the Devils willing to give up a lot of assets? That pipeline I was talking about, the prospects possibly Dawson Mercer, possibly other players. Then you got to think about this. Once you get Timo Meier, it really should be contingent on he signs a long-term deal just like the Bo Horvat plan. And then you're going to have to commit. And there's risk there. And that can be problematic because if you're giving up great assets within the organization, folks, and Timo Meier doesn't work out and suddenly he's a very expensive rental and then bolts for the New York Rangers or whatever team that would be vying for his services after his contract is up, or at least the restricted stuff is up, it could be a problem. But with the pipeline, and I have full confidence that the amount of time and effort and resources that the New Jersey Devils have done with their Department of Scouting and their analytics team, the amount of investment to update from the Lou Lamoriello regime to a modern-day analytics machine, I think the Devils' draft picks recently under Tom Fitzgerald, I would give it a B+ to an A-. And obviously it's easy to draft in the top 5 overall in the draft. But I think some of the draft picks that Tom Fitzgerald has made, I think that are pretty good. I think they're very good. So don't discount the value of draft picks and prospects. Because in the salary cap era, when you've got a contract dispute, you want your GM to have the leverage to say, okay, if you walk, we could trade you, get more assets back, or I've got somebody in the pipeline immediately, and I have all the leverage here. But no doubt, Timo Meier would be a great addition for the New Jersey Devils. But there's a difference between needing Timo Meier or wanting Timo Meier. Big difference. It is a big, big difference. So Fitzy, like what we said before, said that they're not going to impair their future going forward. It also includes the salary cap culture, which I am a big fan of, that if you're going to build a dynasty, short-term and long-term, you got to make sure that the money works because money is everything. Money is everything. But Timo Meier is worth to take a look at to see if you can fleece the San Jose Sharks, but I don't think it's going to happen. I really don't think it's going to happen. And maybe the waiting game is the best thing that could happen for the New Jersey Devils. A, they want to evaluate where their team is right now. B, the longer this goes, the better the price would get for Timo Meier as other teams would drop out. There's competition around the league getting the right players for the playoff run. But I just don't think the Devils are there yet to make a serious Stanley Cup contending run. I think the goal is to make the playoffs, and the goal is to last as long as you can with the young nucleus you've built. You can add veterans, but only at the right price. And those are my thoughts about that. Now, I saw there on the interwebs and internet that Damon Severson's name has been thrown around. The joke 28 for 28. Would you trade Damon Severson now? Right now, I would say his stock is relatively high. Right-handed defenseman. Can move the puck well. A huge asset right now for the New Jersey Devils, especially when there were injuries to John Marino, Ryan Graves earlier this season. But Severson can go in 15 different directions here. Number one, if you keep Severson, you risk losing him in the offseason and getting nothing in return, but he could be in that expensive rental, even though he's on the team, down the stretch because other teams are vying for a blue liner with Damon Severson. You know, there were talk about Luke Hughes after college and Nemitz possibly coming up. They're way too young. They are way too young. You can't put them in the playoffs right off the bat to start off their NHL careers, or could you? Or could you? I don't think it would be ideal, but I think their presence with the team is invaluable as they get their NHL career started with the New Jersey Devils. But Severson, I've changed my mind on him quite a bit. He's shown us a lot. There are times where there are flubs in his game, and it just makes you shake your head. But right now, at a moment during the NHL trade deadline where teams are stockpiling on players for depth on defense, remember that cliche, defense wins championships? I'm more leaning towards the Devils should keep Severson. And you know, I've been making fun of Severson for a while now. Like the guy personally, like everything about him, just there's something missing at times. But I think he may be getting through that. But at the same time, you can make the argument his stock is high. Decently high right now. You better get something before you get nothing. Unless, of course, you have David Severson, either long-term or the mindset of an expensive rental down the stretch so you don't have to expend capital on another defenseman. I think Luke Schenn could bring something to the New Jersey Devils, especially with the friendly salary cap hit. Also remember, the guy that you brought, or Fitzy brought, the plan B to New Jersey, Andre Palat, starting to heat up. 2 assists in the last game, 2 goals coming back from All-Star. This is why you have Palat. This is why you pay him $6+ million a year for the next 5 years to guide this team, the veteran, to show them how championships are won and be an example of the leadership core, the young kids in Nico Hischier, Jesper Bratt, Jack Hughes. And think about it, folks. Think about it. Severson's been with this organization for a while right now. I think he's earned the respect and the seniority where he's one of those guys you may want to keep. And this is coming from a Devils fan that's been practically making fun of him for the last couple of years. I'm seeing a lot of different names. Fans are throwing around. But I thought it was a great team effort against the Seattle Kraken last night, where the BMW line was visible, effective, and they need to take that game and rinse and repeat against the Minnesota Wild tomorrow. Game day live. Vinny is spending time with his family, so it would be Scotty, a SiriusXM Liquid Metal, and I at 7 p.m. Eastern doing Game Day Live and Devils After Dark after the game. We'll be talking about, again, trade rumors, what the Devils need to do to beat the Minnesota Wild. And it should be a very, very good game. But how about Mackenzie Blackwood last night? 2 weeks rest. He was sharp, wasn't he? And I think the tandem of Vanacek and Blackwood, it's working just nicely at the moment. NJ Swamp Fox says, I keep Severson over Graves and pick up Luke Shen. I think Luke Shen is a must if you can get him at the right price, and he shouldn't be too bad. McLeod had a good game, says Dave Singer. And let's not worry about the New York Rangers. Let's not worry about other teams making trades, because I'm sure other teams would love to have Jack Hughes and the amazing prospect pool that the New Jersey Devils have, currently ranked number 2 by The Athletic. And that's very valuable. But that's how dynasties are built, through the draft. The ownership obviously has money, but there's a cap. And I think the Devils are going to do just fine, folks. Just fine. But with the Rangers getting Tarasenko, other teams have a high-powered offense. You need to bolster your defense to neutralize that, especially in the playoffs, when the game can get chippy and the game is fast. And the playoffs is a different animal. It is going to be vicious. My concern is the beefalytics of this team. Do they have enough beef to respond? I think there's a need there. Because I don't think you can outgun your opponents every single night. It's not a sustainable model. But in the playoffs, the Devils have that type of quick strike offense. They've been consistent all year, doing it from time to time throughout the year, where you get, like the other night, 3 goals in 50 seconds. Where did that come from? And let Jack Hughes rest. He's carried this team on his back, going through All-Star. He needs a 2-week vacation, just like his comrades there when they went to Mexico. Jack Hughes and Brendan Smith are actually going to attend the games on the road, which is a good sign. Anyway, I want to thank all those tuning in to this podcast. Remember, February 25th, American Whiskey, our 500,000 party, 500,000 downloads. Be there or be square. We've got a lot of entertainment going on. Got a DJ Shelley. Arlette will sing one song. And you never know who will show up at American Whiskey, 51 Edison Place, across the street from Prudential Center, next to Championship Plaza. Hope to see you all there. And thank you. Thank you for tuning in on this Friday night. Dropping the podcast at midnight for your Saturday morning or afternoon. But keep it here as Game Day Live, 7 p.m. Eastern. Again, Scotty, Sirius XM, Liquid Metal, and I. Scotty's going to be double shifting both Game Day Live and Devils After Dark after the game, recapping. Thank you, JP. Love you too. Dave Singer says LGD. The Timo, the obsession never ends, says the Selective Boy. The Insane Pollock says LGD. Some get by on less. Less is more. Cornhole, you got to chill on Timo. Yes, less is more. Less is more. Sometimes it's better to just sit back, do nothing, and watch everything fall into place. As Devil's Aces says, good night, LGD Road Warriors. Yes, the Road Warriors are back in action against Minnesota. Alrighty. Till next time, this is the Woo Report. Let's go Devils.